Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the No BS TED Show. I've got Ryan from No Border Sports. He's the No BS.
What
And
up?
I'm Ted, who's kind of full of BS. So, welcome, Ryan. Thanks for joining me. We come to you live every Tuesday at 3:30. Not every Tuesday is Halloween, though. And I didn't realize that I knew we were having a Halloween party. I just didn't realize that it was starting at 4. So probably won't be able to do like a full hour or anything like that. May have to cut it short by 4, even a few minutes prior. So on that, how are you doing, Ryan? Good to see you, buddy.
Man, it's this Halloween. I dressed up as Tommy Chong at work today. Um, it was great. I had me a nice little cone with a napkin stuffed in it, stuck in my headband all the day through work. Every time everybody got a little sassy, I was like, "Here, you can have this if you want." Um, man,
Nice.
we got Hey Zeus in the house. Shout out to Chewy. What up, Chewy? Daniel Barry. You know that I don't know if you know this, but Chewy is like the William to Bill for Jesus. So you know
I
how if
didn't
you're
know that.
William, people call you Bill. Yep. So
Yeah,
if they're Jesus, they're Chewy. So
I never knew where
that's
Chewy
the
came from. So that is
yep.
totally new to me.
Yes.
Uh, Said Niners didn't go all in. Should have gone for Jalen Johnson and Brian Burns or a DT with experience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I kind of feel that corner would have been a good pickup. Um, I feel you can never have too much depth there, and if you got a guy who stands out, if you were able to get a guy who could come and stand out, like I am not upset or anything at all at that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if Chavarius Ward is the guy. I've been thinking that since preseason. I don't. Well, actually, last year, like during the playoffs, when he got kind of put on blast by DK Metcalf, I was like, did we pay too much for a guy who's on his way out? And he's going to get burnt, and he's just going to be bitter about it and cause a penalty or something like that. So I don't know. I'd like to see more from Chavarius. I think he could. I think he could play better ball, but he's not. And I'd like to get somebody else on the team to kind of light a fire under everybody in that room.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody.
I was at the game on Sunday, and I can tell you that Isaiah Oliver is not the answer. So any way that we could help him, either by getting another nickel to take his place or getting a boundary corner to allow Lenore to slide into nickel. I mean, maybe Womack can be our answer. He should be coming off IR soon. He had that MCL early in the season. It was 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's been just about 6 weeks. So if he's ready on the early side of that, then he might be ready soon. We'll see.
Well, like we don't really need. I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking is like, why not just roll with who? Why not just roll with who we have? Have him play in certain packages, okay? Like he not in base. Nope. Either bring in another linebacker or have another person in there. If you want to go to kind of a hybrid base, like run stuff and type of thing, okay, put him in there. All right, okay. That's great. If you think it's probable chance it's gonna be a run play, have him in here. He's great at coming up and hitting people. When it's second and long and they just ran the ball and they didn't get anything, I don't want him in the slot covering the I don't want him covering the slot. I I I don't. I want somebody else in there. And if he's the best, then show me that. If he's the best that we got for the slot for nickel, then show me that. Put everybody else out there and show me that. Because right now I don't think we got it. I would I say let Demo run on the outside, Travarius Ward on the other outside, and then let's go with Womack. Let's I want somebody who's going to cover receiver. Um, in passing downs, man. We are
Yeah, I
giving
would
up.
love to see. Oh, sorry.
Well, what up, Cy?
Silly fun guy in the house saying
Silly
happy
fun guy.
Halloween. He's just saying CMC needs to help run Mitchell, Mason, and Price. CMC legs are getting weakened. All the physical elements taken to the body. Yeah, no, that makes sense. This is
We
the
need
1994 team.
a
Went
dual
all
running
in.
back set, so we can give them the punishment with Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell up the middle, and then we can have them hit the outside with Christian McCaffrey or Ty Davis Price or something like that, right? So, and have them both in the backfield, and then whatever the other team is selling out on, then we serve them up with the opposite. If you see all the linebackers crowding the line of scrimmage and being inside the tackles, then okay, let's fake it up the middle. Let's hand it off to the outside and toss it to the outside. Just I don't understand why we don't have this. Everybody is gunning. To me, it's like, remember when Debo Samuel came back? No, was it last year? Yes, last year. Came back last year. He was all of our offense essentially the year prior, the season prior. He comes back in. Yes, he's a little chunky. Yeah, he's a little chunky. But the other thing is all the teams knew exactly where he was anytime he was on the field, and they were selling out. So not only was he slow because he was a little chunky, but everybody knew where he was and had to account for him. What do you think they're doing to Christian McCaffrey? So use Christian McCaffrey as the decoy until they have to respect everybody else on the team, and that's when they're fucked. You know what I mean? Use him as a decoy. Make them have to follow Christian McCaffrey out there while the ball goes up the middle.
There's some method to that madness for sure. It makes sense. Brian Culp saying we should have traded for King Henry, Derrick Henry.
Yes, he's been on that. Well, think about that. What I'm talking about, a dual back set. Imagine King Henry and Christian McCaffrey in the same backfield. Lord help the defense. I bet everybody starts coming down with the flu and stuff like that. Nobody wants to have to get punched in the mouth with King Henry and then have to run their ass off just to try and grab jersey of Christian McCaffrey. That is not a day that anybody wants to have. It's you can change pace on them. You can make the defense have to go from being tough and strong and trying to plug every gap in the middle to then have to get in quick and nimble on the outside. Nobody can keep up with that. Who's going to keep up with that?
No doubt about it. I'm with you. And real quick, everybody, we're live streaming to both channels, to TED Talks Ball and No Border Sports. So if you're on TED Talks Ball, make sure you pop over, give Ryan a like on No Borders. Same thing if you're on No Borders, coming over to TED Talks Ball, give me a like. If you're on a browser, real simple, just open up 2 tabs and watch us live on both at the same time. Just make sure you mute one, or even if you're on a phone, you can always do it on a tablet as well. We appreciate the dual watching. It helps both of our watch hours quite a bit. Jesus was saying Kinlaw and Drake Jackson are getting to neutralize the line. They're not strong and quick. Yeah, I mean, that's why we made this move. I'm not so much for Kinlaw, but Drake Jackson has been ineffective. Randy Gregory had a good game against the Browns, but not so much against the Vikings and Bengals.
Every edge rusher we have has been essentially ineffective. Even Nick Bosa, as far as getting
sacks.
Well, sacks, but also pressures. Like, there hasn't been a lot of pressures. There has been pressures. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they can't get any, but on the level that we know they can, like on the level we know they can and should be getting, they are getting essentially none. So that's what up, Jess.
Got Jess from East Coast Red and Gold. Make sure you check her out tomorrow night.
Yep,
at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern, with Ty, Maddie B, and Bex. Also, Brent Culp in the house. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. He and his wife doing great things. Got Bebop Jones in the house saying woot woot. What's up, Bebop? Said Chase has been balling lately. Yeah, he has 5
Yes.
sacks. So already leading our team in sacks, which is big. I will say Bosa it was 4th in pressures in the NFL, so he's definitely been getting some pressures. But yeah, only 2.5 or 3 sacks is not enough for how many games we've played for 6 games. What is 6 games? 8 games.
The
Um,
the pressures would mean more if we were getting like turnovers off of them. But what we're doing on the back end is just letting the receiver catch the ball. So,
yeah, and part of that is just playing too much off ball, not enough press man coverage.
yeah.
Hopefully we'll
What
see
is
more of
that? He was supposed to be the press man guy, right? And we're over here giving people cushions. Like, holy shit.
Well,
Like,
especially because Mooney Ward, Charvarius Ward is a press man cover. He's not known for his zone or off ball coverage. So
they got so much cushion they could build a fort if somebody gave them a sheet. You know what I'm saying?
there you go. No doubt about it. That's crazy. But yeah, no, big addition. Only a 3rd round comp pick for Chase Young. So that's huge.
And
Really,
five
really
hundred
exciting.
thou.
Ohio State University reunion. They both played together. Chase Young and Nick Bosa played together on the Buckeyes, Ohio State. So now they're having a reunion, which is outstanding. Really exciting to see. And yeah, we have a line now that every bit rivals our 2019 defensive line, where we had Bosa, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, and D Ford. Now we have Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, and Chase Young. It's going to help our secondary, even though our secondary has struggled. I mean, it sounded like we were trying to make a move. Tim Kawakami came out and said that was hearing that there was a move in the works. And there was, I guess, the false report that said that we agreed to terms with the Giants over for Adoree Jackson, their cornerback, but they didn't file the paperwork in time with the league. But supposedly that was a fake report. I don't know. But it seemed like we needed to make a move for our cornerback. And I would have been much happier when I titled the show, The 49ers Need to Go All In. I was thinking defensive end or corner were probably my 2 big ones. But another position where I thought the 49ers, I thought it was pretty unlikely that we would be able to get a right tackle, but a tight end who could block and catch didn't seem too unrealistic, to help out both tackles and also be more of a threat, receiving in the offense than, say, Dwelly or Charlie Warner. So we'll see.
I don't think that's going to happen. Kyle's got his guys.
I guess so. Well, wait a minute. No. Come on. We drafted two tight ends. So clearly tight end was an area that we tried to address in the draft, and neither one of them worked out so far for this season.
Well,
with Braden Willis and Cam Latu.
I didn't really expect them to be playing maybe much this year. If he kept Ross Dwelly and he kept Charlie Warner, I didn't expect them to be playing much. Obviously, we see what happens with what's his name? The Cameron Latu. Cameron was injured. So, and also we know he wasn't ready. He's not ready. He might be ready next year or the year after. So, who knows? Braden Willis is a guy, I think he's just not big enough yet to really do things. Like he reminds me almost like a Ronnie Bell. He's not on the same size as the rest of the tight ends. So that's why he's not starting. But I just don't see Kyle getting another guy in here when he's got all those guys that he wants on his team, right?
Yeah.
That's because what is he going to have to do? He's going to have to get rid of one of them. He doesn't want one of them. He is, whether Cameron's got it or not yet, Kyle's got a vision of what Cameron can be. Okay. So it's like Jalen Hurts. Or, yeah, Jalen Hurts. Remember Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, Jalen Hurd.
Oh yes, Jalen Hurts. Sorry, I always got those two messed up. So Jalen Hurd, always on the team. They bent over backwards to try and keep that guy on the team until they finally realized he just couldn't hold up.
Yeah,
I can't remember. There was a couple times we were upset that he got rid of. I can't remember who. I can't. There was one player we were like, why did they get rid of him just to keep the fucking? I remember going rounds with Bashar over that. Bashar held out to the very end on Jalen Hurd. He was like, and I
I
understand
did
everybody was
too.
held out. Yeah,
I did
no,
too.
I understand. It's where we are at with Elijah Mitchell.
I love how Jim Everett the Great's calling our Chase Young move embarrassing. I'd say being 3-5 is embarrassing, Jim Everett the Great, rather than 5-3. So even with our 3-game skid, we're 2 games up on the Rams. So good luck with that, Jim Everett the Great. So yeah, I mean, as far as moves go, it was a great move. Probably the biggest move in all of free agency. Definitely bigger than the Seahawks getting Leonard Williams from the Giants. Chase Young is a much bigger impact player than Leonard Williams. Kevin Byard to the Eagles, that's arguable, especially with how much of a need that was for the Eagles to get a safety. That one might be up there. Typically you would rate defensive end over safety, but I think those two moves are on par with one another. I think that was a huge move by the Eagles.
So we got 10 minutes left. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Last game was hideous.
Yeah, it was. Well, at the end of it anyway.
All of it. What part of it were you like, yep, that's our brand of football?
Well, I mean, Purdy didn't make a ton of mistakes till late in the game. But the back-to-back interceptions were terrible. And then the third interception called back and then fumbled the ball away, where he might have gotten another concussion, or it looked like he maybe did. That was awfully bad. Yeah, I mean, scoring only 10 points part of the way into the fourth quarter, that's not 49ers football, at least not recently. The defense was bad. Burrow just had his way with us.
Yeah.
Seemed like every play you just say, well, where's Isaiah Oliver? And that's where the ball was going to go.
Yeah, I think that we had some troubles being able to just keep the ball in front of us. It was constantly just going over the top of our heads, or he's escaping out of the pocket. There was mistakes on defense. Offense, we looked like we were drunk stumbling around, kind of. We couldn't really, no drive looked good, I would say. You can't go, yep, that was a good successful drive. There was always something going on.
Even the drive where we got to 17, Purdy threw across his body and across the field twice, where you're just like, oh man, that was so dangerous. It's like, dangerous. No. Yes. You're like, yes, it worked, but man, like it didn't look right. And in hindsight, we were like, so dangerous. And I was there at Levi's for the game too. I don't know if you know.
That's one of the worst throws to
especially when you don't have a big arm.
Right.
If you have a cannon, you can get away with that. But if you're doing that with a limited arm, you're just begging for trouble.
But whatever, he got out of that. And I wouldn't say everything was his fault. I don't think the scheme was very good. Why are we
Well, obviously missing Trent Williams hurt, missing Steve Samuel hurt.
I don't give a damn. What'd you call him?
What'd I call who?
What'd you call Deebo Samuel?
I call him Debo. Debo. What do you mean? I don't
Oh,
know.
thought I heard you say something else. Anyway,
No. Trent
um,
Williams. I said Trent Williams was out and Debo was out.
yeah. So that doesn't mean anything. I think we could have won that game.
We were just always behind the whole game. It was
Like, why is Kittle open in the second half? But we didn't know he was open in the first half because it wasn't going to him. He's Kyle, for such an offensive genius. Like, I think some things that can happen in his system, he's blind to. Like, if you're gonna have Kittle staying in block like the whole drive, well, guess what? Before you get to the red zone, why don't you call Kittle's number in a play action pass? What are they going to think? They're going to think, oh, he's blocking just like he did the last 7 plays. And then what happens? He breaks free and he might be wide ass open. And then you've got yourself closer to the end zone, if not in the end zone, from depending on where you're calling it up. Anywhere from the 40 on our side of the field to, let's say, the 30 on the other side, we should be dialing some Kittle special up. Or, like I said, the dual running back set. Like, kill them with whatever they're the opposite of whatever they're selling out on. Why is that so hard? To me, I don't get it. So the offense, like, we got balls being dropped, we got balls being thrown behind, the offense is struggling, but we can't win games without the defense being 100% solid. And we are getting no penetration up front with our vanilla ass pass rush scheme. And all we're doing is blitzing with linebackers whose specialty isn't sacking the quarterback. That would be the defensive lineman whose specialty is that. But he's got linebackers doing that when linebackers should be out in pass coverage on these passing plays. So the guys rushing the quarterback got a little more time to get there because everybody's locked down. And to people are calling for Steve Wilkes' head and his job. I don't think that's the scenario. I think what Kyle needs to get in there and tell him what's up. Kyle's the head coach. He knows what's going on there. He needs, hey, we're going back to this. I need you to do this, this, and this. Coach K can tell him what he needs to call as for the line front. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't like rocket science here. We've used this same scheme for essentially the last 4 years perfectly. Even with backups in. But hey.
Ekim has a good point. If the 49ers lose Young in the offseason, they get a compensatory 3rd-round pick. So it's basically a free rental. And I think we're only paying about $567 or $570,000 of his salary this season. So it's another low risk, high reward move. But unlike Randy Gregory, I think this one has a high chance of high reward. I mean, it feels a lot like the Rams getting Von Miller back in 2021, I should say, when they won the Super Bowl. It was a huge move for them. And anyway, that's a huge move. I'm happy about Chase Young. I kind of wanted Montez Sweat because he's more of a speed rusher. But just to have Bosa and Chase Young on the opposite ends of the line, one of them is going to be not, they won't be able to double team both of them. And then also, you got Hargrave in the middle. It's going to be very difficult for opposing offenses to deal with all that.
What up, Ekim? Oops. What up?
There you go. He's saying 550K doesn't cover the issues. Yeah. No, the secondary is still suspect, but we get Womack back soon, if not the Jags soon after that. And then also Darrell Luter, who we still haven't really seen play, should be coming back from PUP pretty soon too.
I is he going to be something?
I mean, it's hard to say because he missed all of OTAs and all of camp and all of preseason. So that's hard to recoup from. But
so even if you're talented, it's hard to be up to speed about what's going on where you can be help. You know what I mean? Even if you got all these traits and you're talented and you can do all this, if you don't know what the play is and you don't know who you're covering or what part of the field you're in charge of, then you're kind of useless. So I don't know if he's really going to be anything right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? People keep bringing up his name, and I think that's kind of unfair to him. To me, I would expect to see something from him maybe next year. You know what I mean? Like, on all actuality.
I mean, that's realistic. But you just never know what'll happen this year, if there'll be injuries or if he'll get a chance to prove himself. We'll see. But yeah, it's tough for a rookie to break in without camp, preseason, and OTAs. That's a lot to miss for sure. But I'm just saying he is on the team. He was on PUP. He should be coming off of that. So it is a possibility, even if it's not likely. Bebop was saying he wanted Pat Surtain the second. I think we all did, but I think he was going to be too expensive.
Yeah, what were we going to have to give up?
I think he was going to be like 2 firsts for somebody like that. Even Jalen Moore, people wanted from the Bears, but I think the Bears wanted too much for him.
That's I got a question.
Get moved.
Real quick question.
And somebody, real quick for that, somebody mentioned that they wanted DJ Jones, but I don't even know if the Broncos are sellers. They didn't sell any other players. So who's even to say that DJ Jones was for sale? Although I'd love to have him back. He's a great defensive tackle, especially versus the run.
So 2 first-round picks for Patrick Surtain, right?
Yeah.
I would probably do it. The only thing that would make me stop is the tackle position.
Right tackle.
Like if we need to, left tackle.
That too. Either tackle, but yeah.
If Trent's retiring, I want to have a guy on there. So I wouldn't. You see what we do with first round picks, right? My philosophy is to trade back to the next year with ours if we can, and then take all the comps that year and then use somebody's first round next year to do the same thing. And then we just take all the extra stuff that they give us on top of their first round pick, and we use those in the draft. And then if you have to. So to me, I wouldn't mind like 2 first rounds for Patrick Surtain. Because what's the probability that we're going to get one good player out of both those first round draft picks with our track record of picking people in the first round?
Yeah, I just feel like if you want a good right tackle, you got to get them in the first round. They're all gone after that. So in general, so I've been saying for a long time that I thought that
that's
our 2024 first should be.
You can get them in the second round.
Used for a right tackle, whether it's in the 2024 draft or here before the trade deadline. But the chances of any team parting with a good right tackle are slim. The other problem with trading for a right tackle now is that you're going to have a huge salary cap hit. And that's the problem with Surtain. He needs a new contract. And I don't think we can pay a top corner in addition to Fred, Kittle, Debo. Ayuk needs his new deal. What's that? Hufanga's coming up. Yeah. Although Hufanga, I don't know if he's playing well enough to be paid as a top safety right now. Is he?
No, he's not. But that doesn't mean, nobody on the team is. Nobody's on the team is playing to any of the potential that we've seen previously from them.
Thanks, Bebop. Thanks for stopping by. Great to see you. Randy says, we did it. We won a Super Bowl. Parade tomorrow at 3. Woohoo. I don't know about that, Randy, but hey, we were struggling last year before we picked up CMC, and he was a real spark for the second half of the season. Hopefully, Chase Young can be that for our defense this year. It's a little bit different, and I'd say less likely, but I think he can really be helpful. And like I said, with Womack coming back, maybe we can get to see him some. Maybe he can do a better job in coverage than Isaiah Oliver, which isn't saying much because Isaiah Oliver is pretty much non-existent in coverage. O-line, cornerback. Yeah, we did not address either of those. I think O-line is just too expensive, and they just, teams don't part with good offensive linemen. That's just the way it goes. Even teams that are tanking or rebuilding, they tend to keep those pieces. I didn't see any. Well, there was a one guard from the Vikings went to the Jags, but he's not like a star. He's just like a solid guard, not a tackle either, which is what we were really looking for. I mean, I think we could have used a right guard. I think that
Do we really need a right tackle?
Yeah, I mean, we do. We need someone who can run block. Yeah, McKivitz is not a good run blocker, and our system is predicated on running the ball first. And McKivitz he's all right, and he's good for his cost.
So instead of using the right tackle,
I mean, you can just tell when Trent Williams is out, we can't get things done, man.
Okay.
Purdy was running for his life, and CMC wasn't running for yards. So,
what I'm saying is, we've always used an undersized right tackle to be at the apex of our toss game off to the right side, right? All you got to do is put Kittle over there, and he's essentially your right tackle. He can block better than some right tackles in the game, especially on the move like this. I'm not really too worried about it. What I like is he's not giving up pressures and sacks like all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. If we've got to figure out a scheme to make up for what he can't do in the run game, I'm okay with that right now. What are we going to do? Go out and get okay, so you want to draft a right tackle. Okay, that's cool. Draft a right tackle. At least they're cheap for right then and there. Then you're going to have to pay them just along with everybody else. We'll be back in the same thing.
In 4 years.
4 years. But you're going to want to be able to pay the left tackle more. So the right tackle is always the least paid tackle.
Right.
So if you're going out and using a first rounder on your right tackle.
Unless it's Lane Johnson or Tristan Wirfs.
Right. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you go out and use that first rounder on a left tackle because that's the guy you're keeping no matter what.
Unless they can play both sides, which is not a given. I know that it's not as easy as just flopping somebody over there and switching sides. Some guys, it's rare that people can just switch back and forth right away. Some guys can do it after, some time. Some guys can never make the switch. I know that that's the case for O-line. But, you would assume that if you had a good right tackle that you could move him to the left if Trent Williams did retire. But, there's no guarantee that Trent Williams is retiring next year either.
It truly all depends about switching people around. It all depends. Like, J.J. Watt's better on the left side. Why is he rushing from the left side? Because he's better on the left side. And other people have seen that. And it's just
TJ Watt.
Yes, TJ Watt. Did I say JJ? That's bad.
Okay. That's all right.
So when it comes to Watts, man, you're just gonna get letters and the last
J
name
in there
Watt.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's gonna be something. So yeah, I just think that that really doesn't matter. As far as the switching thing goes, it's more of the timing. Like, if you're not going out and going, oh, right tackle, oh, let's switch him over there because Trent retired. You know what I mean? You're going out getting left tackle because Trent retired. I'm telling you, McKivitz is there. They're going to work with McKivitz. If anything, to me, it's easier for him to learn to run block than it is for somebody else to learn how to pass block like he does. Not to say that they couldn't already have those talents, but if you're looking for a star run blocker, guess what? They might not be necessarily as good in the pass blocking scheme. So I'd rather take that. I could teach someone how to run block.
Yeah, sort of. You just can't teach athleticism, and that's what run blocking comes down to. It's how quickly can you get to the second level
Yeah.
and take on those guys. And McKivitz has stone feet. He does. It's like he has cement feet. So
Sometimes you just need the right techniques to kind of get to where you're going.
JT. Bryant's clowning you a little there.
Yeah.
Or
Hey.
me, or us. I don't know.
Yeah, it's me. Don't worry.
David McNiner in the house. Says, let's put Jared Brown at nickel. Get Womack attack back. Sign Dante Johnson. Anybody would be better than Oliver. He was terrible on Sunday, and he's been terrible most of the season. And I was with you, Ryan. I said, I'm not ready to fire Wilkes yet. I don't know about putting him on the sideline either. Some guys are just booth guys, especially if you're secondary focused. You want to see the whole field. And also, he doesn't have the personality of like a D'Amico or a Robert Saleh that's going to really fire people up on the sideline. Some people are better off in the booth. I just think we need to be a little patient and let him learn. This is his first time calling this defense, and I think he will improve. I mean, I think he improved just in the second half where he started getting the corners up close to the line of scrimmage and not allowing Burrow to pick us apart underneath quite as much.
I feel if Kyle felt there was something he was missing by being up in the booth, he would already have had him down there.
Yeah.
What up, David McNiner? Appreciate you. David McNiner's got a channel. Make sure to go check him out. Him and Bryant Culp do a lot of stuff together. So make sure to subscribe to both of them because their weekly show is awesome and it's on both their channels. It alternates.
Randy says put Kinlaw on the O-line. There you go. He's big enough.
See what Kinlaw can do is like a fullback / tight end. You know what I mean? See if he can stand somebody up and seal off an edge.
No,
he's not good against offensive linemen. Maybe he can be. No, I'm joking. He's been doing better. I can't be too savage against him. He's been doing better.
He has been doing better.
Somebody was talking about trying to trade him to somebody else before the deadline, and I was like, I think he's got more value on our team now at this point than he would be on any other team. In other words, I don't think he would get a big enough. I don't think he'd get enough draft capital and enough for him to take up our spot right now, and as in the D tackle room,
No doubt.
So
it seems like we're pretty much in agreement. I mean, Chase Young, really nice pickup, especially for a third round comp pick, especially since it's only
not
under 600K and cap hit for 2023, but it's not a cornerback, which was one of our maybe our biggest need. It's not an O lineman. Whether you're thinking we want to replace Burford or McKivitz, it'd be nice to replace one or both of them. And it's not a tight end who can catch and block. Also, somebody mentioned running back. Derrick Henry. There, I'm sure were other running backs available. Just doesn't seem like Elijah Mitchell has been able to do much since he's been back. And even if he was killing it like he has, because Elijah Mitchell was really good in 2021 and 2022, just injured a lot. That's the thing. He's injured a lot. So like, no matter how good he's playing, you can't count on him being there when you need him. So running back was another area that I thought we might address. So yay, good for Chase Young, but no, not quite the all-in that I was hoping for myself. I don't know. Do you agree with that, Ryan? You would like to have seen more moves?
I don't know if we need another cornerback on this team or if we just need another cornerback out there starting. I'm not sure if a trade would have fixed our secondary or if it could have fixed, but I'm not sure that the answer isn't already on this team in a different type of package.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Womack, maybe Jair Brown,
Yeah. Like
maybe
it
maybe
doesn't seem
Luter. I mean, it's crazier things have happened, but that would be pretty crazy. At least right away. Maybe it'd be later in the season. We got to get Luter back to practice first, right? And then
if
maybe if he practices for a month or two, maybe for the
well
stretch run or the
if
playoffs, Luter might be ready.
Luter was extremely talented and destined to be a great back, he would come out and he would show out the moment he stepped on the field. The reason being is he's got time to read all this stuff. If he's really smart, he can see all this stuff in his head and he can visualize it. And visualizing is just as big as actually going through the motions. And in fact, you can visualize things faster and quicker in certain parts over and over again than you can just do essentially with a partner and all this other stuff anyway. But he can get reps, mental reps by doing that stuff. So he could come out and play, but people like that are an extreme athlete that already know essentially the schemes like by the back of their hand. They know receiver packages. Not the packages, but the schemes that the offensive coordinators are trying to run out of certain packages. So like that usually takes veterans. So like Deion Sanders, he wasn't really worried about teams. He was looking into offensive coordinators, right? Why is that? Because he wants to know what if they're going to line up in trips, what things do they like to throw out of trips? And then he can look at their spacings and see, okay, which play does this look like? Because spacings will be different depending on different plays normally, right? And then he can deduce that, oh, it might be this or it might be that. So before the ball gets snapped, Deion Sanders has already figured out the spot where he thinks the ball will be thrown. And that's the only spot on the field that really matters. Like he wasn't, who was it? Andre Rison, when he intercepted in 1994 and then ran it back into the touchdown, said, "This is my house. I built this place." What was he doing? He knew where the ball was going. He was hiding back far enough away so the quarterback would throw the ball exactly where he wanted him to throw it because he knew where the ball was going. So if you got a guy who's talented and that's his thought process, they can show up week one because you could be slow as shit. All you need to know is where the spot is. You know what I mean? That's just being at the spot. That's why when everybody was talking about how slow Hufanga was, I was like, it doesn't matter. You just need to know how far away you need to be, where you need to start in order to make the play. That's all it is. You just got to figure out where your boundaries are. If you're slower, you need to know you need to get on your horse in this, and when they get to about here. You know what I mean? That's all it is. So
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I don't think Luter's that guy, but I think he's got some good tools, and I think he's someone who could develop. So we'll see if we develop him this season. I think Womack is the one that I'm really banking on to be the one who could step in, or maybe Jair Brown. But coverage was one of his weaknesses. I don't know that he's had enough time to develop coverage skills. So we'll see. We'll see, I guess. But
be nice to have a Jimmy Ward right now.
Yeah. I was saying I would love to get Jimmy Ward back. I said all offseason we're going to miss him.
Be nice to have a Jimmy
as
Ward.
An enforcer. He's a hell of a coverage guy, and he even had 3 interceptions last year, and just a little over half a season. So
our defense wouldn't be playing like this right now. I don't think. I think him and Steve Wilkes might have had some talks if things weren't going. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Ward don't give a shit. He'll tell you. He'll tell you. You didn't even ask. He'll tell you. You know what I mean? That's what I like about Jimmy Ward. He feels you need to know, so he's going to let you know.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, I hear people starting to arrive, so I should probably call it here.
Entertain.
But Ryan, thank you for joining me today, and to everybody who's here, thanks for joining the audience. I'm sorry we have to cut this short, but like I said at the beginning of the show, we have a 4:00 Halloween party starting, so I'm already late to my own party. Hope I won't be in too much trouble with the home boss here. But Ryan, pleasure as always. I'll just say, glad we got Chase Young. You know, we obviously went into the bye on a 3-game losing streak, but a big win like that in the trade market takes some of the sting out of it. It definitely gives us a little something to be happy about during this bye week, rather than having to just sit here and marinate on 3 losses in a row. So I'm definitely happy about that.
Yep. I just want us to pull our heads out of our asses. Let's get back playing football. We are not playing 49er football. But yeah.
No doubt about it. All right. Well, I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Peace.